Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing.
Hey, welcome. So this week I met with my mastermind group and we set up their Google Shopping ads. And so if you are interested in something like this, I think we could talk about it. At least you need to know the pros and cons, why and when you would do it. Does it work? What are some strategies? The whole thing. Let's talk about it in today's episode. But before I do, first things first, this episode is brought to you by Mentos. No, it's not. I just thought that was the perfect transition to do an ad if there was an ad or anyone cared about sponsoring this podcast. Okay, let's talk about it. So Google Shopping ads are what is shown visually when someone searches for something. And this is where some of the confusion comes in. So they are ran from a Google Ads account. If you don't have a Google Ads account, you can create one really easily. The only problem is when you go to set up a Google Ad account, they want you spending money the second you set one up. So you have to be kind of crafty in not setting up an ad account, or if it just funnels you that direction, just make sure you turn it off when you're done. But there is options to click skip. There's like this little expert mode when you're setting up something. If you go into expert mode, you have an opportunity to skip it as well. Just keep in mind, if you go to set up your Google Ads account, it will try to get you to spend money. Now, full disclaimer here, Jared Robinson, myself, not a big fan of how Google runs stuff. When you set up an ad account, they're also going to send a company from India that's going to call you nonstop trying to get you to set up and run ads all the time as well. And wildly frustrating. If you see a phone call from Google, don't answer it. It's terrible. Okay, back to Mentos. Just kidding. Back to Google Shopping ads. So to run Google Shopping ads, there's two things that are needed. Three. You need to have a Shopify store. You're not running this on Etsy. So if you have a website or anything like that. So one of the big things is we run our products on Etsy and we pay Etsy for visibility, and they show us people who are shopping and buy our products. The problem with that is that we are laced with competition. So you then move to a website and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any traffic coming to my website. Well, Google Shopping ads is a really great way to run traffic to your website. You just run into a similar position where you are paying for the traffic that comes in and you are littered among your competition. And so it's a very similar process. In fact, the ads themselves run very similar to Etsy ads, which we'll talk about. You're just doing it on a bigger scale. There are more people using Google than there are Etsy. And so this is a cool thing. Also, if you are interested, AI and search, I am attending a conference that's going to be teaching me all about that stuff, and I will dump all of that on you once I get more information on that. It's in early February when I'm going, and so when I get back from that, I will I'll feed you guys some of that information. Okay, back to Google Shopping ads. So number one, you have to have a Shopify store. Number two, you have to have a merchant. A Google merchant is what it's called. Jared, how much is that going to cost me? Nothing. It's free. Oh, is it difficult to set up? No, it's not. I was going to think of some other rhetorical question to ask myself, but I can't think of one. So what you do is you just Google search Google Merchant Center. It's going to pop up. You click that bad boy. Boom, you're in. It has 5 steps. It literally walks you through the 5 steps. One of the things is like your business name. The other one's like your information. The other one's like, I can't even remember, but they're super easy. It takes you probably 15 to 20 minutes to set this whole thing up. One thing I will note is that at the end of that process, when you're setting up your Google Merchant, there's a human that goes through your website to make sure you're not just some spam type place, but that you're a legit business, and they're looking for something else. They are looking for a refund policy and a way to contact you without going through a form. There's no problem with having a contact form on your website, but Google doesn't want someone to have to opt in their information to be able to contact you. So what they're looking for is, do you have, and it's 2 of the 3. So do you either have your phone number, your email, or your address? So you have to have 2 of the 3 visible on your website. You can place that, and this is where I place it, in the footer of your website, or you can place it on the contact page itself of your website. But as long as it's visible that a human can see it without opting in, then then you will be approved for, oh, there's another thing. Did I say privacy policy? Privacy policy and refund policy. So Jared, how do I write a privacy policy? You go to that little thing called ChatGPT and you say, hey, this is what I sell. And if people opt in for my email list, this is what I offer them. So promotions and discounts or whatever. And it will write you a privacy policy. You create a page on your website. You don't put it in your navigation bar. You just create it so that's floating, but then you link it to the word privacy policy in your footer. You do the exact same thing for your refund policy. So if your refund policy is, and when you create a merchant center profile, it asks you about your refund policy. So it's like, tell me about your refund policy. Is it 30 days? Is it this? Blah, blah. And so you kind of fill it out. You just take that same information, give it to chat and say, my boy, write me a refund policy. And boom, bada bing, it'll pop that bad boy out. Then same thing, put that bad boy right into your footer. You've got yourself a refund. You got yourself your, whatever the other one I said was, privacy policy. And then as long as you've got an address and a phone number and a email or two of the three, then you're going to be approved. So what happens from there is Google Merchant Center will have you say, well, it'll be like, hey, where's your website located? What's it housed under? So if you're like WordPress, you're probably using like a WooCommerce or something like that. If you are Shopify, which I think a majority of people use Shopify, it's just right there. And you click on Shopify and then you download an app in your Shopify store that's called Google and YouTube. And then you just walk through those steps as well. So it'll be like, what's the name of your YouTube channel? And be like, oh, skip for now. I'm not going to upload my YouTube channel. But then you just like push your products into Google Merchant. And then from there, Shopify is speaking to your Google Merchant and it's pushing your products, what we'll call is your product catalog, to Google Merchant. Now, you may be thinking, yawn, Jared, I'm not at that spot in my business yet. I don't want to pay for ads. I don't want to run traffic to my website. I'm okay on Etsy, or I don't want to invest money. I'm scared of investing. Listen, Google Merchant is free. And when you upload your products to Google Merchant, it can organically show you to intent buyers. This means when someone searches for something like if I was to search, what is that song? I need to purr, so I can get stomping in my Air Force Ones. That's what I was thinking of. So when I go to buy Air Force Ones, I would type into Google, Air Force One, size 10 or whatever. I'm not size 10. I'm size 10 and a half. Sometimes an 11. And then it pops up and you would see images at the top of Google and you can scroll like sideways through those images that are there. Those are shopping ads and shopping organic listings that that Google is promoting. And that is coming from Google Merchant. So if you have a Google Merchant, it can pull that up at that time. So the reason I share that too per intent shop is that shopping ads show up when Google is like, oh, this person's looking to buy which one, instead of they're researching or learn. So if I type in shoes that make Nelly think I'm cool. Is it Nelly who sings that song? It's going to not bring up shopping ads because that's going to be like, oh, you're talking about the Air Force Ones and blah, blah, blah. But if it's like, dude, I am shopping. I am looking for Air Force Ones size 10 and a half, sometimes 11. Then these shopping ads show up and you can organically show up. So why on earth would we ever avoid something like that? We shouldn't. So what should we do today? We should get ourselves on Google Merchant. It's going to take 20 minutes tops. And you've now opened a catalog for yourself that A, wasn't an option before, and B, every single one of your competitors that has a website has the ability to be shown up organically on Google search. But unless they go through Google Merchant, they have no ways of showing up their product in shop at the top. Now, if that's not motivating enough, you as an Etsy seller probably have pretty good pictures, and because you're used to visually winning people over. And so now you have an opportunity to stand out even against other competitors because you have that visual advantage. And so for me, if I'm an Etsy seller, I'm 100% Google Merchant, connecting that bad boy to my Shopify, and at least knowing that organically I'm showing up. And then you may be saying, well, is this going to work? I don't know. Is it like Pinterest where we just kind of cross our fingers and hope things are working? Yeah, but you get data. So you can log into your Google Merchant Center and it'll be like, oh, this is how many times we showed you. This is the products people clicked on. This is where they went. Like, all of that is shown to you. So you can, at the end of the day, without any cost, just look and see, am I being found under certain things? I always like to look at people's Etsy account and go under where it says Google and SEO and click on that where it says where there's like traffic sources, or it's called marketing and SEO. Marketing and SEO, you click on that. And if you're seeing, oh yeah, Etsy brings me traffic from Google, that's prime opportunity to let you know you can also bring traffic to yourself through Google, and just getting up there organically can be helpful for you. But just like anything in life, there isn't a guarantee I'm going to show up. Oh my gosh, my store is going to blow up now that I'm on Google Merchant. Like, no, because there's people paying to be in front of you. And so they're always going to have that advantage. In fact, I'll share this with you, some organic strategy really quick. What Google's looking for is they want really clear information on what it is that you're selling. And does this sound familiar? And your policies and things like that. So like having, for example, if the shipping is kind of vague in the listing, they don't show you because they're really concerned about the shopping experience. If you have bad reviews or you're like this brand new website that's never sold anything in its life, it knows that information. They're like, yeah, we're not going to show this to our customers yet. They want to see some track records. They want to see that you're a functioning store. They want to see that you're a good product, and they don't want users to get confused or leave. They want to provide a good experience. And so your job is to be very transparent in your listings of what it is that you're selling and the process of which you sell. So how long does shipping take? Even if it's a ballpark guess to let people know, hey, shipping's between, and you just put that in your listing description, that's helpful for Google. Another thing that they are looking for is good photography. And so hopefully, if you're selling well on Etsy, that's a sign that you do have good photography and that you can place that into your website and get that as well. And then, of course, this is goes without saying, but no confusion on what it is that you're selling. So make sure that your titles are not. In fact, I get this question, should I just bring my titles over from Etsy to Google? The answer to that is no. 2 different search platforms. I'm going to give you the weirdest advice I've ever given anyone in my life. You ready? Do you know that feature on Etsy where the AI will write your title? And I've said to you, do not use it. Etsy's algorithm does not respond to this. Do you know whose algorithm does? Google. Google's algorithm responds to stuff like that, not Etsy's. So I don't have any problem you using the AI generated titles that Etsy gives you and using them on your website. I think that's fine for the most part. As long as your product is, what you don't want is any additional padded words. And the strategy we use for SEO where we sort of link all of our products together and feed the store as a whole is not important on Google. And so you're really just building SEO for the listing, and it's more about simplicity than it is adding or padding keywords. And so just explaining what that product is and then displaying that product. I guess lack of confusion should be the number one priority when you're trying to be found on Google. All right, so now let's talk about merchant ads or shopping ads. So this is relatively the easiest way to run Google ads. You go onto, there is this one little thing and it's kind of annoying. But if you go to your Shopify and you go through that app and you set everything up through that app, now your Shopify and your merchant account is connected. So organically, you're all good. If you want to run paid traffic, this is where it gets a little bit more sticky, is that you go to your Google ad account and you have to go to tools and data, and then you have to find Shopify and you have to connect your Shopify to your Google ad account. And then you have to connect your merchant account to your Google ad account. So that can be done through Shopify as well, through that app. It'll say like, what's your ad account? And you just drop down. As long as you're using the same email, this will be relatively easy for you. But if you have like, oh, I opened this Google account with doyoulikeBananas@AOL.com, my real email, hit me up. And then my other one is like, Grow My Etsy Shop, then that's where it gets problematic. But if you're using Grow My Etsy Shop for your whole for Shopify and for Google and all that stuff, then you're golden. So it's a pretty easy, simple process. You just need to find it under ads, which is under tools and data. And then you click on Shopify and you integrate it. And then from there, you integrate Merchant through your Shopify app. And now all three are connected. So you need to see them as three different identities. Shopify is where your products are housed. Merchant is where Google learns about your products. And Google Ad Account is what can promote those products. So once you have that connected, you can then click Create Campaign. You click on Sales, and you're off to the races. It'll say, what kind of ads do you want to run? You're going to say shopping ads. It's going to say Performance Max. You're going to go, no, shopping ads. And then it's going to, oh, did you click Performance Max on accident? Nope, I didn't. I clicked shopping ads. Okay, great. Do you want Performance Max? No, I don't. So you just fight your Performance Max off until you're just like, I'm shopping ads. And then it's going to say, hey, how do you want to bid for this? So what you can't do on Google Shopping Ads is bid for keywords. It legit is going to use the title and description to figure out what it is that you're selling and show you. Very similar to Etsy ads. Keep in mind, we don't go into Etsy ads and bid on keywords. Wish we could, but we can't. So we have to just write titles that work for us. What we don't want to do on Google is confuse the algorithm. And so we write clear what it is that we're selling. From there, we run our shopping ads. No keywords. You can't decide them. I will give you this piece of advice. I like to start my bid at 75 cents a click. This means that your CPC will be 75 cents. Now, I find that this is a healthy place to start. It lets you get traffic without overspending your budget. Just between you and I, how does the auction work? If people are bidding, let's just say you're the Air Force One size 10.5, and your competitor is the Air Force One size 10.5, and he bids 76 cents and you bid 75 cents, then he gets priority bid. Doesn't mean he's going to get every single one because eventually his budget's going to run out, but you just get, there's a ranking system of how it works. The higher rank or the higher bid someone has, the more likely they are to win a bid. Again, it doesn't mean they win every single time. They just win majority of time. If they bid $5 for a click and you bid 75 cents, how much will they pay per click? 76 cents. Because it only takes the second highest bid and beats that person. Meaning if you set your cost per click, I'm willing to spend $10 a click. Will it spend $10 a click? Only if someone else bid $9.99. Does that make sense? So you might only spend 76 cents per click, and then you'll have this aggressive $5 bid that gives you even more priority. So this little technique is definitely something you don't want to worry about until you're further down or have much larger budgets or really going head to head with somebody. What all you need to know is, hey, let me put myself at 75 cents a click and watch my data. Now, what data can I see, Jared? I'll tell you, the exact same crap you see on Etsy ads. When you go into your Etsy ad account, you can see the keywords that you're being found under, and you can say to Etsy, hey, turn that keyword off. That's not what I sell. You get the exact same thing in Google. It'll show up all the keywords that you were found under. And if you click on those keywords, it'll tell you the cost that you're paying for those keywords. It will tell you the conversion rate of those keywords, like the click-through rates and how much money you've made from those keywords. So you can turn off those keywords, or what it's called is negative keywords. You make them negative keywords. So meaning, hey, Google, I don't want to be found under this. And I keep saying just between you and me like it's a secret, but that's not the right way to say it. The better way to say it would be, just so you know. There you go. Just so you know, there's 3 versions of negative keywords. 99% of the time, I want you to use what's called phrase match negative. So when you go to say, I want that to be a negative keyword, it's going to say broad match, phrase match, exact match. You're going to say phrase match. You don't need to know why. In fact, I've talked about it in other episodes. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to see clicks coming into your stuff. You're going to see where you're falling under, and then you're going to be able to say, oh, I don't want to be found under that negative, 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 and start to train your ad account to. So it's funny because you may be hearing this, Jared, this sounds so much like Etsy ads. I'm like, right. That's why Jared is good at Etsy ads, because this is what I've been doing for years and years and years. And now I see Etsy doing it and I'm like, oh, I know this platform really well. I've worked with shopping ads forever. I'm just going to use the same principles that I'm using on shopping ads over on this, and then I get results. And so it's very similar. But then you train the ad account so that it gets smart at what you're doing. It gets conversions. It starts to figure things out. But Google shopping ads give you more freedom because you get to see, you get to move stuff into negative keywords, and you get to predict words that can be negative. So one of the things I always have, like when I met with my mastermind, I was like, hey guys, if you want to block Amazon and Walmart or any other Temu or something like that with your exclude or not exclude, exact match keyword, meaning you make Temu a negative keyword, that's exact match, and you make Walmart, that's exact match, and you make Amazon, that's exact match. Because what you don't want to be found under is when someone searches for letter opener, Temu. And then you show up and you're like, yeah, I'm a letter opener. That's $39. And they're like, great, I have one for 34 cents on Temu. And that's what they were searching for. So I just say to them, hey, look, anyone who's like big retail box op, like don't have your ads show up for that, because a lot of people do that. They search, screwdriver on Amazon, enter, and then you show up on shopping ads paying for that. They're not searching for you. They're not going to click on you. They want Amazon. So we exact keyword those out. Okay. This was a very crash course on shopping ads. If I think you can take this information that I'm giving you, you can make an educated decision to be like, yes, I do want to do that. And if so, I think there's some YouTube videos you can follow that could be really helpful along with what you just learned today from me. So you just plug those two things in together. But what is my major call to action? Hey, get on Google Merchant. There should be an Etsy shop that has a website that's not on Google Merchant, because that is free traffic. You set it up one time and you never worry about it again. It's not like Pinterest where you're pinning things. It's not like Facebook where you're trying to keep up with it. It's not like Instagram where you're dancing. Nope. Set it up. Forget about it. Okay. Till next week.